Yes, we are listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And we love to just make it feel like you're happy. You know, when you walk in the front door, you go, life is pretty good. And then when you go outside, you say, the hills are alive with the sound of music.
With the things I've done from Home Wizards.
And the birds that are coming
They're
in.
here. It's like you're in that.
It's a Disney movie.
It's a Disney movie. They're just landing on your hands
See?
and shoulders, and
So
you're just singing.
Eric and I both are fans of the finch, even though the food that they eat is a little
pricey.
A little excessive. It's almost like putting them through college.
Thistle.
They like the thistle.
Who knew that thistle would be like thousands of dollars?
But it sure is fun seeing those vibrant, different little guys and gals. But, it isn't just spring and summer when the birds come. There are ways to attract wildlife to your garden, to your balcony, at your apartment, or whatever. And it brings so much joy. And so I thought we'd walk through some of the different things you can do so that year-round you are attracting fun-loving, Disney-esque birds.
Sure, you got to do it. By the way, one of the first things to remember, and this is something that you don't often think of, but dead trees are fantastic places for birds to hang out. They love the dead tree because they have vision. They can see. There's no predators, but they also have a perch to get away if they need to. So sometimes, and I actually have a dead tree in an area that you would normally go, why is that thing there? But the birds all hang out there. It's really cool.
See, so you're doing them some service.
I'm doing them some service.
See,
yeah. If it's not now, keep in mind too, if it's a big old heavy dead tree that could potentially fall,
it could be dangerous.
Got to get rid of it.
We don't want that because of the wind.
But if it's some wispy little thing like what I'm talking about, then it's great, perfect.
And it's not hurting anybody. It's just in the back corner, probably, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's walk you through some of the different things like that you can help to, because you're basically helping birds in desperate times. Because as it gets colder, they need they need all the things that we need. They need food, they need shelter, they need warmth. They need to feel safe from the bad guys.
Yeah.
And so you're doing all these things, and they're going to go, you know what? The Stromers are pretty darn cool.
I like it there.
I like these guys.
I'm going to spend some time, quality time.
I think I'm going to come back every season. In fact, I'm going to come month after month.
It becomes like a destination resort for the birds.
You're on the circuit, basically.
Zagat guide of bird feeding. Yeah.
So here's some things to be thinking through in your mind, because, when you go to the garden centers, it's always been a big hobby, the whole birding thing. Right. But I think it's gotten even more popular.
I do too.
And now it's become a thing like for younger people. It isn't just like a retired person's hobby.
Yeah, and boy, I'll tell you, some of the binoculars. Have you used any of the binoculars that are really powerful?
Like almost like sniper-esque?
Like the camera company, the lens companies make these things now.
To take pictures with your binoculars.
You can do that, but the distance that they cover is just phenomenal. Zoom. You can it's like they're right next to you.
Isn't that neat?
It's great.
We have actually a camera, a bird cam that we have, and it mounts. It's a motion sensor thing.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's mounted to this this kind of pole that stands in the garden. And basically, as the birds come to the feeder, the motion, now keep in mind, as other people come by, in fact, I think I have a picture of you, it takes a picture of other things. And people...
You know what? There's nothing more embarrassing than seeing me squatting on that branch naked, trying to get at your bird feeder. It's terrible.
Well, you're a nut guy. You and nut almonds, But anyway, so here's some of the things you want to be thinking about. Think in layers, just like how you probably like to have a nice layered bed with your sheet and your blanket and your comforter and all those pillows of yours.
Yes.
The birds, they want their layers. They're looking for shelter and food at different heights.
Yep.
So think of your yard and your garden in terms of naturally occurring layers.
That's a great idea. And makes it more beautiful that way too.
Exactly. We decorate in layers.
Sure.
We dress in layers.
That's exactly
And we take care of birds in layers. So a canopy of tall trees.
So it's mimicking nature, basically.
It is. The under canopy of the smaller trees. Maybe there's a shrub layer. Maybe there's a vine layer. I mean, it's kind of fun as the finch come to our finch feeders. They come in, it's almost like it's an airport.
Right.
And they're coming in and they're staging at different areas because we have a couple of little trees and a couple of shrubs, and they're all kind of coming in waiting their turn, and then they go into the feeder. But they're like
Well, that's what I was going to say. They're pretty well behaved in terms of conflict. I don't see them going at each other very often.
They're not aggressive. They seem
they seem to be like, okay, next. Bill, you done? Okay, move on.
It's your turn.
Sam, you're up.
You're up. Have at it.
Yeah.
But so be thinking about, having the layers of the canopy of tall trees, the small trees, a shrub layer, a ground cover vine. Now, let's say you don't have a yard. Well, that doesn't mean you can't do this with container plants and things. But so by having these different layers, not only will it look prettier for you and your garden, but now you're helping out these birds.
Yeah, and it seems to me like the evergreens are pretty successful for attracting the birds too. It's great cover, but there's also food there for them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What about from seeds to nuts? During the fall to the winter, birds are on the constant look for food, and you can make your yard a convenient place for them by adding trees that produce seeds and nuts.
Sure.
Like you say, the evergreens, right?
Yeah,
they're going to do
great.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also like those pine cones. The seeds from the pine cones are a really great source of food for a lot of birds, like the chickadees and woodpeckers.
Yeah. And here, I have a bird sound that I'd like to share with you.
Okay, sure.
Are you ready?
Sure.
I heard it from a bird tape once.
Okay,
it goes something like this. Chickadee, dee, 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 teen slinker. That's what I learned from one of the tapes.
Oh, okay. That's cute.
What'd you think, Peter?
That was great.
Peter's
Love
just
it.
staring at me
2
like I've gone a little crazy.
All right.
But that's what I memorized that one bird call. It doesn't work, but that's what they taught me.
Okay. We'll keep it under advisement.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. And by the way, it's available on our website for just $600.
We'll see how that works out, right? How about a bounty of berries? You have those fruit trees.
Yeah.
It's interesting how we have a couple of ficus trees in the front of our yard, and one of them has berried. Not like buried underground, but buried. They're like little red berries. So it's interesting. And we also have a California pepper tree, and it forms little berries, and just like a lot of animals and wildlife, birds love these fruit-bearing trees and shrubs that have the berries. Do you have any kind of fruit?
I do have some kind of, I've got my citrus seems to attract them all the time.
Sure.
What else do I have? I don't even want to go into this, but I think the birds took my peaches.
Well, yeah.
But I'm going to have to net them next year.
Are there any other trees that you have that produce just some kind of berries that you wouldn't want to eat, but they're
I do have some
maybe
berries.
some bushes,
Yeah.
Anyway, something to keep in mind, like bayberry is a good shrub, for instance. There's different kinds. There's over 17 different dogwood varieties, too, by the way, that are really good. Or crabapple trees, the flowering crabapple trees.
Yeah, they go for that.
Yeah, they're very, very, it's almost like for them a filet mignon. So that's another good thing to think about. More ways to attract birds in the fall through the wintertime. Go wild with native grasses. Those native grasses that are not only fluffy and look like the fields of grain.
I love those.
Right?
Yeah. Well, low water, too.
They're truly bird friendly. Don't cut them back in the fall. Instead, leave them up for the winter and then cut them back in the spring. And this way, you're going to be giving them coverage.
Yeah.
Like now they're hiding in a shaggy rug, but it also gives them some food. You know what I mean? Because that's like now almost like a source of wheat or something, for these guys.
Yeah. Great.
And perennial power, like the native grasses, perennial flowers produce seeds, you know what I mean, that are going to give a lot of the nutrients that birds are going to need later in the season.
Fantastic. And, you know what, and I think the number one thing.
I know what you're going to say.
Water feature.
And you have several of them.
I have so many of them that my son is concerned. He's like, "What's up with all the water?"
I know. Well, that's a teenager for you.
Yeah.
But if you have a clean source of water, it's critical for birds, especially in the winter. You think that during the winter that they're not going to need the water, but actually, that's when the birds need it the most.
They do. You're helping them out.
They're thirsty.
Sure, they are. Yeah, and I think the sound attracts them too of the running water.
And they want to take a bath. I mean, these guys have personal pride.
Well, who doesn't want to shower after a long trip?
And if you live in a colder part of the country, you can invest in a portable warming device or even a de-icer for your bird bath.
Yeah,
to prevent freezing.
My mother-in-law, Marilyn, she's got the...
Well, she's a birder, isn't
she? She's quite a birder.
And what is she doing?
She's got bird feeders. She's got the de-icer.
Wow.
She's got a water source that, has a heating element, so there's always fresh water. I mean, she's got it down.
Wow. Where does she live? In the Chicago area?
She lives in Indianapolis. And I would probably go as far as to say that the birds think that that's like a
five-star,
four seasons resort.
Easily.
Yeah.
So when you're deciding to be bird friendly, remember it's okay to start small and even making some minor changes, because this is kind of like a lifelong
It's a very
thing.
peaceful thing to watch too.
Yeah.
Just for you as a person living there.
I think it's healthy.
I do too.
And and don't be afraid. Don't take down the sugar water feeders, because local hummingbirds and orioles start leaving in the fall, but there's huge numbers of hummingbirds that come from even further away, and they'll still show up.
They still need a spot to go.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. You're listening to Home Wizards. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole. Keep it here, because we love to improve your home and improve your life.
Girl, you know the